Today we're going to draw a sidewalk with trees on the side, and it's using 1 point perspective. Everything vanishes to this point here. So they get larger once they get closer, okay? The trees. So we are going to start by making the horizon line. Horizon line will be in the middle of our paper. We make a horizontal line, and then, as you can see, our vanishing point is not on the center of the paper. This is the center of the paper. Our vanishing point is a little bit to the side. So we are going to make our vanishing point not on the center, but a little bit to the side. Then we're going to make a line going from the vanishing point to this corner, and then another one to this corner. And then we're going to make another one to the upper corner as well. On this side as well. Okay? Now we are going to measure 1 inch here. And we are going to make another line. And we are going to measure 1 inch here. And we're going to make another line. So now we're going to start making our trees. So do you see that we have this area here, like a the side of the sidewalk? Do you see? So we are going to use a trick. We're going to try to make very lightly. We're going to try to make circles that have to be almost like a caterpillar. They have to be connected. Okay? Make it very lightly. We're going to erase them later. Try to make a caterpillar. Not oval. Try to make circles. See how many times I'm going with my pencil? Because they don't have to be perfect. We are just creating space so we can count the distance between the trees. This is a trick. If you can manage to make circles like a long caterpillar, see how small they can get, and then you just don't do it. Remember, you have to connect them. They have to be connected, okay? And they have to be the size that fits perfectly inside this area. I'm going to start again here. I'm just trying to use this technique to see if it makes it easier for you. But remember, you have to make them fit inside this area. They have to connect, just like a caterpillar. They have to connect, okay? So now we're going to make a tree, 2 lines going up. We're going to use a ruler. We're going to use this area. This first circle will be our first tree going up. So the size of the circle, see the width of the circle. And here too, we're going to use 2 lines going up. If it goes, if it crosses the other circle, it's okay. We're gonna erase the circles. The circles are just a way for us to know the distance, okay? So now we're gonna skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 5th, we're gonna make our lines again. Remember, the lines have to follow the size of that circle. If that circle is smaller our tree will be thinner than this one, okay? So we are going to skip 3 on this side. Here we skipped 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we're gonna skip 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're gonna make our tree here. Then we're gonna skip 3. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna make a tree here. Here we're gonna skip 3 as well. 1, 2, 3. Actually, yes, we're gonna skip 3. 1, 2, 3. And then on the 4th, we make our tree. And now we're gonna skip 3 again. 1, 2, 3. On the 4th, we make our tree. This one, the first distance, we skipped 4 because we need it to be bigger. And here we have been skipping 3 on this side. But now we're gonna start skipping, actually not now, we're gonna keep skipping 3. 1, 2, 3. Later we're gonna skip 2, but only later. And here 3 as well. 1, 2, 3, and then we do on the 4th. Okay, here 1, 2, 3, we do on the 4th. 1, 2, 3, we do on the 4th. 1, 2, 3, we do on the 4th. It's getting so small. Now we can skip only 2. 1, 2, and do a little one. I think that's it. You can add one more here if you want. And that's it. Okay? So now we need to create our trunks. I'm gonna use Sharpie before I erase all those lines. So you don't have to make completely straight. See, I can make like this a little bit. Doesn't have to be completely straight because the trunks are never completely straight, right? But you need to make sure you keep the same sizes, you know, the same distance between the lines, because you had all this work here making those circles so you could have different sizes for the trees. See my Sharpie here even connected. So some trees are going to be just a line. Okay, so now we're gonna go up a little bit. I like to make a V here, and then I make the trunk. So I'm gonna make V's. I'm not gonna make here any V's. Not going to, but here it's big. I can make a V. Okay, they don't have to be perfect. Then we are gonna close the bottom. So you make it longer. This inner part, inner line here, you make it a little longer so you can go like this. Okay. You see this line here? We have 2 lines, right? The line that is behind the trees, we're gonna keep that line. So let's use Sharpie on top of that line because we want to keep this. make sure not to go over the trunk, right? It's behind, it's supposed to be behind. We are not keeping this other line. We're gonna erase. Let's make oval around the trees. Make sure the ovals get smaller and smaller and smaller. See, it's even just a dot here. Okay, now let's make the top part of the tree. So do you notice that we have this line here? This is how tall the trees can be. So we're going to start on this side. We're gonna make, and it has to stay inside that line, okay? So this tree, again, see this line here, the horizon line? We start our tree here, always on this side, the farther side, because the trees are gonna be overlapping, look, overlapping. So I go behind. So we start on this side, and they're going to be overlapping. This side again. So the farther they are, the less need to make the curvy lines. See, this one I can make just a round line, just a circle. Now let's go on this side. Again, we start on this side because they're going to be overlapping. Okay, so we have our pathway. Let's make sure we make the horizon line. Remember that line that we made across, like in the middle of the paper? Okay, so we are going to make that line to go over that line again, but behind the trees, remember that. So if your line is not showing, don't make it. We're only gonna make if it's showing. If it's not showing, we don't make it. Okay, and now we can make a circle here to be the sun, and we can make a sunset. Okay, when you color, you can make a sunset. If you want to be super fancy, you can make little lines coming down of each oval, and then you make a double line if you want to be super fancy. But the farther you go, then you don't do it anymore. Here you can make one. Here it has to be very little. And then those, you just don't need to do it anymore. Okay? You can add texture. Okay? If you want to add some texture on the trunk, you can. I'm not going to make it simple. And this is done. So what do I do now? I'm going to erase the lines that I don't want. I'm going to erase the circles. Remember the circles that helped us? I'm going to erase them all. I'm going to erase all the lines because I don't want to see any pencil here. Because when I color it, I want to make sure I don't have any pencils. So, in my opinion, I think the hardest part is to figure out the distance that you're going to make the trees and how thick the trees must be. So, using those circles, if you have patience to make those circles, to take your time to make the circles inside the line, those circles that we made along the way, I think that really helps. Okay? Done. Have fun coloring it, maybe even painting using watercolor. I think since this is a sunset, you can even use the sunset colors. It can be really nice drawing. All right?